The extent of the progress of contemporary medical science.
現代医学進歩の究極。栄光121号。昭和26の1951年9月12日発行。
I will describe what I imagine will happen if contemporary medical science continues to advance as it has so far developed. But if the reader knows that disease is purification and that medical treatment is the suppression of purification, anticipating what I have to say will not be impossible. Those who do not know these truths, however, will be greatly astonished upon reading for the first time what I write. In its treatment of disease, the more medical science suppresses the purifying function of the human body as it does now, the more disease ceases to occur, so the cessation of the disease is mistakenly taken to be the progress of medical science, but as long as development and advancement of the suppressive method of healing is carried out, such efforts will ultimately lead to reverse results, and the only natural outcome will be the increase of the number of human beings with feeble purifying ability. Everyone will come to have weak health and society will consist of passively healthy individuals. I will give 2 examples to make this point easier to understand. The following is a phenomenon that has been discovered only recently, but the weaker the physical constitution of the child, the more likely it would seem for the child to contract tuberculosis, but the truth is actually the opposite. The tendency of weakened children to not be prone to tuberculosis occurs less often in civilized nations that have high rates of infectious disease but is seen more frequently in the peoples of lower-level cultures as well as among the lower classes. According to the discovery, the former is composed of children of feeble health who should not be contracting disease and the latter are healthy individuals who are likely to contract the disease. In which case, the standard interpretation is indeed peculiar. What is there to say? Such is how medical science creates so many individuals who are only able to enjoy pseudo-health. To ponder on what will be the result if the present conditions continue, allow me to offer an example here. The more the prescriptions of medical hygiene are scrupulously adhered to, the weaker the individuals, and because these individuals are weaker, they probably cannot but follow these prescriptions. If you carefully note the rapidly growing number of pseudo-healthy individuals, the peculiar phenomenon can be observed that cases of sickness among the pseudo-healthy decline and that the number of individuals who live longer increase. Recently, in both the United States and in Japan, longevity has increased which has been attributed to the progress of medical sciences. Such assertions are made because the reason mentioned above is not understood, and from our perspective, this trend is the source of much anxiety. If the situation does continue, the number of passively healthy people in civilized nations will gradually increase which will ultimately give rise to grave results. This is not my own determination. One will agree just by looking at the situation in the United Kingdom and France. The recent lack of vitality in these two peoples is quite noticeable. They seem to crave idleness and the energetic characteristics of former times is in decline. The recent trends in the sports world of the United States show the same tendency where in boxing and in other sports, Negroes display a strength that arises greatly above others. Quite recently in Japan as well a similar trend has started to be observed so it is probably the basis for a great amount of prudence and caution. Above I have written about the truth of the progress of contemporary medical science, but at its extreme extent, the fate of civilized peoples is grave. Indeed, the number of sick persons is decreasing, but at the same time, the vitality of human beings in general is weakening, and it is inevitable that the number of young people who resemble old people will increase. There will be a temporary lengthening of the lifespan, but when this period is over, a grave situation will arise because the lifespan will gradually shorten. Moreover, this shortened lifespan will differ fundamentally from that of today in that there will be no possibility for recovery and a large part of the population will consist of individuals who are living only and doing nothing else. Of course, at this point, technological aspects of civilization will be developed to their utmost, so it will be a convenient society, and this situation will spur still further the medical conditions. As a result of this deterioration, the uncivilized peoples who until that time had been on the lower rungs of the social order will tend to rise. This will probably be the beginning of the replacement of civilization by barbarism. This in itself will be a great crisis for the civilized peoples, but by the time circumstances reach this point, it will be too late to do anything regardless of how rattled people may become. Individuals must awaken now to the mistakes of contemporary medical science, and a true method of healing that can create human beings of active health must be implemented. There is no need to be pessimistic about the situation. God's great love is seeking to prevent such an occurrence beforehand. To me has been shown through revelation the principles of true healing and the technique for healing disease. Wonderful results are now being presented. For this reason, when every doctor and all the peoples of the world finally come to understand these principles will it be the salvation of untold millions, and I cannot but advise that the sooner each individual comes to me and knocks at the gate of happiness, the sooner they can avoid the approaching danger. Iko, Issue 121, September 12, 1951. Translated by CYNNDD。
現代医学進歩の究極、栄光121号。 昭和26の1951年9月12日発行。現代医学が、このままで進歩したとしたら、結局どうなるであろうかを、想像して書いてみるが、病気は浄化作用であり、医療は浄化停止であるということが分かったとしたら、これも予想できないはずはない。だが、これを知らない人が、初めてこの文を読んだとしたら、大いに驚愕するであろう。そうして医学が今現に行いつつある浄化停止をすればするほど、病気は起こらなくなるので、それを医学の進歩と思い違い、ますますその方法を進歩発達させる以上、これが逆効果となって、浄化微弱な人間ばかりが増えるのは当然である。すなわち弱体健康者となり、消極的健康者の社会ができるのである。この理をわかりやすくするため、2つの例を挙げてみよう。近来分かったことだが、染病室の虚弱児童ほど結核にかかりそうなものだが、事実は反対だということと、今一つは伝染病が高度の文明国人には少なく、文化の低い民族と、そうして下層階級ほど多いとされている。この事実によってみれば、前者は病気が起こり得ない弱体者であり、後者は病気が起こりうる健康者ということになる。としたら実におかしな話と思うであろうが、それが事実であってみれば、何をか言わんやである。そこで医学は、行為疑似健康者を盛んに作っているので、これで進んでいったなら、究極はどうなるかを考えてみるとして、今一つの例を挙げてみるが、今日何よりも学ぶ衛生を守る人ほど弱く、また弱いからそうするわけでもあろうが、そういう健康者が増えつつあるのは、注意すればよくわかる。これによってある程度病人は減ると、共に長寿者も増えるという妙な現象になる。近代米国も日本も国民の寿命が伸びたと言って、さも医学の進歩のように思っているが、これは前述の理由を知らないからで、我々から見ればむしろ憂慮すべきである。故にこのままで進むとしたら、次第次第に文化民族は消極的健康者が増え、いずれは重大な結果を生むことになろう。これは私の独断ではない。現に英国及びフランス等を見てもこう、頷ける。近代両国民の元気のないこと甚だしく、ただ安逸をどん、むさぼることのみに救急たるありさまで、昔とは比較にならないほどの国民性の衰えである。しかも米国でさえ最近のスポーツ界を見ればよくわかるごとく、ボクシングなどはニグロの方が桁違いの強さである。近代我が国においても、この傾向が見え染めたのは大いに改心すべき用があろう。右は現代医学の進歩の真相を書いたのであるが、では究極において文化民族の運命はどうなるかというと、容易ならぬものがある。なるほど病人の数は全時減るであろうが、その代わり人間の元気は衰え、老人のような青年が増えるのは必至であり、一時は寿弱いも延長するが、それを超えると大変なことになる。すなわち今度は全時短命となる。からである。しかもこの短命は今日のそれとは根本的に違うから、もはや挽回の道はないことになり、ただ生きているに過ぎない人間が大部分を占めることになろう。もちろんその時代は機械文明も極度に発達し、便利な社会となるから、これがまた拍車をかけることになる。その結果長い間下積みにされていた野蛮民族没起きの機運となり、ここに世界は野蛮と文明の交代が始まるであろう。これこそ文化民族にとっての一大危機であり、その時になって慌ててももはや遅いとした。今のうちこの誤れる現代医学に目覚め、積極的健康者を作り得る真の医学ができなくてはならないのである。ところが悲観するには当たらない。なんとなれば神の大愛はこれを未然に防ぐべく、私をして真の医学の原理と治む病の方法とを掲示されたまうだからで、今現に素晴らしい成績を上げつつあることである。そのようなわけで、やがては全世界の医学者も一般人も、あまねくこのことがわかるとしたら、いかに人類は救われるであろう。しかし一日早ければそれだけ早く危機を免れられる上、何人も今すぐに我に来たって、幸福の門を叩かれんことで、これを勧告してやまないものである。時間。